What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, I was just talking about these guys. We're coming back to Blind Guardian. Yes, indeed. Blind Guardian fans feeling you. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbity-bobbity-bop, do me a favor before you do all that stuff. Please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Jonas R. And Jonas wanted to see me react to this. It is Blind Guardian with a tune entitled, I'm Alive.
It's alive!
Now, have I heard this song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard this song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a second, I recognize this song, I'll let you know.
That's the truth!
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let's see, this was posted by Vertrovie, three, Cultural Manique. Sure, why not? We'll go with that. And the video has 45,000 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Blind Guardian, Imaginations Through the Looking Glass, full concert, 720p at 50 FPS. Yeah, I've done several reactions to this same concert. I was told to start at 106.32, which is right where we're at. And I'm supposed to end at 1:12:20. So 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 20 seconds. So basically, we're looking at almost a 6-minute song. About 5 minutes and 50 seconds or so. Cool. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
Es bleibt düster, schützt euren Nacken. I'm alive!
I like the switch up. That's nice. up. The thing I've noticed about the song so far, and it's repeating now, so I can safely say this, they are completely avoiding straight time. They're playing around with halftime in the pre-chorus, halftime, but everything else is double time. Now, when they're doing their double time, they are switching between snare on the downbeats and snare on the upbeats. I like that. That shows some variety. It helps. It helps freshen things up. It helps things from becoming stale. Like, so far we've had, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus. We're about to go into the next chorus. Could you imagine if when they go into the double time, they just did double time with the snare on the upbeats only, never switching, just upbeats only, and go into halftime for the pre-chorus, and then back to double time, snare on the upbeats for everything else. It's going to get a little stale. It's going to get stagnant. It's going to get a little... I could definitely see the accusations of being one-dimensional. But by switching up the double time style, and switching, to, snare on the downbeats for a while. And then we go back to snare on the upbeats again. I like it. I think it helps keep things fresh. I hope it keeps things moving. I think it helps keep things interesting. So, yeah, I mean, I got no problem with the song at all, honestly. That the chordal progression sounds good. It flows well. It definitely, what's really hitting me are those half note accents. They're playing along with the 16ths. They're just, cruising along with them. But then they hit these half notes. Boom, boom, boom. And then they go back into that, fast pick again, the 16th note picking again. And they are 16th notes, 16th notes, 16th notes for a while. Half note, half note. I'm like, those are some really nice accents. I like the fact that they're taking the time to hit those half note accents. I like it. I definitely. Could they have done without them? Yeah, they could have. But again, the song's going to get real stale without them. I like it. I like those half notes. I think they add a lot of character to the song. Musicianship wise, everybody sounds good. I mean, I kind of expect that from these guys. They're great musicians. They really are. They're outstanding musicians. Live show. It's hard for me to, I can't say it. I cannot with a straight face say that the live show is okay, or it's all right. I'm really struggling to say that. There really isn't much of a live show to talk about. It's the same old complaints I have with these guys. They're great musicians. They're wonderful musicians, but when it comes to their live play, it's lackluster at best. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, go back and watch the reaction right before this one. Go back. It's Dragon Force, Valley of the Damned. Go watch that. Watch that performance. You don't even need to listen to the music. You turn the music off. You can put the volume all the way down. Just go watch the video. Go watch the performance itself. And you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, There's no comparison. I'm sorry, but there isn't. There's no comparison. Dragon Force absolutely blows these guys completely out of the water when it comes to their visual live show. They don't just blow them out of the water. They destroy these guys. Dragon Force just annihilates these guys when it comes to the live show. And I know I can't wait to hear in the comments. I can't wait to see the comment section on this video. Oh, you're being too harsh. Your expectations are too high. You know, they're focusing on their musicianship. They need to put all their attention on their musicianship. Really? Dragon Force didn't have to. They didn't have to. They're able to move all over the stage, interact with each other, interact with the crowd consistently from start to finish through the entire song, and still play their song precisely. So what you're telling me is your favorite band either is unable to do the same thing, they're incapable, they're not talented enough to do the same thing, or the other possibility, I think this is a little more likely because, let's be honest, these guys are great musicians. They absolutely are. So the more likely story then is they don't want to. They don't care to. They don't see the importance of it. So you're okay at that point with settling for mediocrity. Cool. Okay. Well, that's you. That's not me. I don't like settling for mediocrity. I don't. Anyway, let's keep going here. Didn't mean to doze off there. Very boring to watch.
Vielen Dank.
112.20. There it is. Okay. I'm going to ask everybody before you watch the review for this, before you watch the review for this video, I want everybody to go watch my reaction to the reaction prior to this one. Dragon Force, Valley of the Damned. I want everybody to go watch that reaction, okay? And then when you come back for the review on this, I promise you, will have a much clearer understanding of what I'm talking about when I talk about this performance here. You'll understand my standpoint. You'll understand where I'm coming from. You'll understand my expectation and how, I hate to say it, these guys just, I hate to say it, folks, I really do, but they do not stack up. They just don't. They do not. So go watch that reaction, and when you're done, I'll see you in this review and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Blind Guardian with I'm Alive. This was a request from Jonas R. Okay, hopefully everybody went and watched the reaction I did to Dragon Force Valley of the Damned before they got here. One last chance, just in case you didn't, you really need to, because I'm going to be referencing that reaction a lot, okay? So seriously, if you have not watched that reaction, you really need to go and watch it. Otherwise, you're going to have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, so seriously, go watch that reaction. Seriously, right now, okay? I'll wait for you, I promise. All right, we're back. Did you watch it? Hopefully you did, because seriously, if you didn't watch it at this point, you're going to be on your own, folks. Sorry, but you're not going to have any idea what I'm talking about when I'm referencing things. So, really hope you did. Okay, here we go. I have a score, and I think the score is exactly where it needs to be. I have absolutely no doubt about this score whatsoever. It's exactly the score this song deserves, and we're going to talk all about it. I promise you, okay? Good and bad. Good and bad. So let's get to it, shall we? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that overall presentation an 8.2. Yep, 8.2. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, an 8.2. What does that mean? Well, an 8.2 would also translate to a great scale rating, because overall, I think this was a great presentation. It would also get 4 to 5 stars and an A- letter grade. Yes, an A-. So there you go, an 8.2, great scale rating, 4 to 5 stars, and an A- letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? So glad you asked. All right, let's talk about the musicianship, okay? I have never, in the history of the channel, with all the reactions I've ever done to Blind Guardian, I have never criticized their musicianship, okay? They're great musicians. They are absolutely great musicians. And they write some great songs. Absolutely, they do. That has never been my problem with these guys. And this song is another example of what I'm talking about when it comes to great musicianship and great songwriting, okay? Great tune overall. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to the tune. Absolutely. Some really cool things happening in there. The 16th note patterns and the guitars and bass that would then be cut by those half note accents. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, just really nice. I dug it. I loved the breakup of the monotony of those 16th notes. Let's be honest. If you were to hear a song with nothing but 16th notes through the entire song, would that get old? Would that get stale? You better believe it would. So having those accents, really nicely done. I dug it. I absolutely dug it. Let's see. The play with feel in this song Now the song was, let's be honest here again, okay? Let's be honest here. It was dominated by the double time feel, okay? The only time we would switch off of that double time feel was when we went to the pre-chorus. Pre-chorus, the entire pre-chorus was in a halftime feel. Oddly enough, no straight time throughout the entire song. I know that's done on purpose. I know that's done by design. It's interesting. Nobody can ever say that that's predictable because most bands, 99% of bands, are going to work straight time into their songs at some point in time. Not this song. This song completely avoided straight time, which was interesting. It works. It's effective. Absolutely. And like I said, it's not, no one can ever say, oh, I saw that coming a mile away. No. Anybody who says, oh, I saw that they weren't going to use straight time at all in this song, I knew that was going to happen, I saw it coming from a mile away, they're liars, straight up. I'm sorry, but they are. There's absolutely no way anybody could possibly stand there and say that they knew for a fact before listening to this song that there was going to be absolutely no straight time in the song whatsoever. So I like it. I think it's a different approach. I think it's definitely added an unexpected element to the song. When they would go into the double time though, and like I said, the song was pretty much dominated by double time, but yet it didn't feel stale. It didn't feel old. It never got redundant. And the reason for that is because they were switching up their double time quite a bit from having the snare on the downbeats to having snare on the upbeats. Instead of being having the snare on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it was on the and. That was nice. That was nice. It was a nice little, and the thing is, it's such a subtle thing. It's such a slick thing to do, to switch between the two. Unless you're paying attention, you probably won't even catch when they do it. But then again, every once in a while, it's going to hit you like something's a little different here. You know, it doesn't feel like the same old double time feel. There you go. That explains everything. They did it smoothly too. I had to focus and, you know, really focusing on when they were going to do it. Most of the switching would happen in the chorus, when they would switch with the snare on the downbeats going back to the snare on the upbeats later. Well done. Absolutely well done. As far as musicianship goes, I think everybody did a fine job playing their instruments, as always. These guys definitely know how to play, and there's absolutely no question about it or any doubt about it. They're picking clean, especially in a live setting, very clean. 16th note pattern, you know, at that tempo, consistently through a good majority of the song. Not easy to do. Everybody knew their roles when it came time for the guitar solos. You know, those that weren't soloing filled out the sound with their chords. With their chords. I like it. Kept the song from becoming hollow. The more musicians you have in your band, the more options you have for that happening. So that was a really nice job. Vocally, I think the vocalist, if I'm being honest, I hate to say this because I don't say this very often, I think the vocal work was the highlight of the entire song. I think his vocal delivery on this was very strong, very powerful. Did not sound breathy or nasally or thin or pinched at any time, start to finish, through the entire performance. I like it. I think this is one of the strongest vocal performances that I've seen him deliver throughout the history of the channel. And there's been quite a few Blind Guardian reactions, so that says something. Now, I think he was absolutely the highlight in this performance, so good on him. I would honestly give this song, I'd give it somewhere between 8.4 and an 8.5, somewhere in there. I'm not sure which one. I guess it would depend on the day. I could see it feeling like an 8.5, but I'm really kind of leaning more toward the 8.4 on this one. But still, I think the song is a great song, and an 8.4, 8.5 all day long for the song without question. But wait a minute. I'm giving this an 8.2. I said I was giving this an 8.2. Did I change my mind? No, I still think it deserves an 8.2. And for those of you who've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you already know what I'm going to say. So say it with me, kids.
Sing it out one time.
A live show can help your score or it can hurt your score. And I hate to say it, but once again, their live show hurt their score. It absolutely did. Let's go down the checklist. And folks, seriously, this is where I really hope you went and watched that reaction I did to Dragon Force Valley of the Damned. I really hope you went and watched it because I'm going to be referencing that video quite a bit. And if you have not watched that reaction, you're not going to have any idea what I'm talking about, which is going to be a real shame. So hopefully you did. Let's move forward. Let's start with the checklist. Let's see how many boxes Blind Guardian actually checked, and the ones that they did check, how strong the check was. All right. Stage presence. Check. Yeah, I'll give it to them. They look like performers. They act like performers. So yeah, I'll give them the stage presence. Stage energy. I'll give them a check, but it is a weak check. Very weak. The only movement I saw really at all happening on the stage was the lead vocalist as he sauntered casually up and down the ramp. Not moving with any type of intent, not moving with any type of intensity, not moving with any type of showmanship or any attempt to be entertaining. It just looked like he was out walking his dog, waiting for the dog to drop a big, steaming deuce on the neighbor's lawn. Hopefully he picks it up and then is going to, casually saunter back into the house with his dog. That is literally what he looked like. Okay. There was no attention to performance on that. There was no attention to detail on it. There was no attention to any type of intensity with that or showmanship with that. He just casually walked. Well, I'm sorry, but that's not going to be very entertaining to watch. And quite frankly, as far as a level of energy goes, it's there, but it's extremely low. So yeah, I'm going to give it the check, but it is a weak check. Not at all like what we saw from Dragon Force, where every time the lead vocalist moved, he moved with intent. Every step with intent. Even when he's moving, at a semi-casual pace, it wasn't just hum-de-hum. It was, I'm going over to this space and when I get there, I'm going to put on an amazing live show. It wasn't that. So, no sense of urgency is what it really comes down to. So, yeah, he's getting the check for the stage energy, but that's literally all it is. Nobody else on stage moved at all. Their feet were planted into the ground. We're going to get some more about that later. So, moving on to stage interaction. Did we have any stage interaction at all on that stage? Answer, no. None. Zilch. Nada. Big fat goose egg. We didn't have any stage interaction whatsoever. Looking back on the other reaction I did, how many times did the members of the band interact with each other? I counted at least 12 separate times in one song where the members of the band interacted with each other. Sometimes it was the guitar player on stage, sometimes it was Herman, and sometimes it was the bass player interacting with each other. Sometimes it was the lead vocalist interacting with the bass player. Sometimes it was the two guitar players interacting with each other. So at one point, we had all four of the musicians up at the front interacting with each other. Bass, both guitars, and keyboards, all interacting with each other. Versus this, where we had absolutely no stage interaction whatsoever. Not only was it boring to watch, but it shows a possibility of division amongst the ranks. What, you guys don't like each other? Is that why you're all standing so far apart from each other? Is that why you don't even look at each other? I mean, I don't know. Let the rumor mill begin, I guess, because you're not making it obvious at all that you guys get along. Meanwhile, the guys in Dragon Force, they may hate each other for all I know. There's a possibility that maybe they do hate each other. But you would never know it because of all of the camaraderie that was shown on the stage with all of the stage interaction that we saw. For all we know, from what we could tell, from what we saw, they are just absolutely the best of friends. And as a band, that's kind of what you want to convey. You know, nothing worse than having a band on stage that looks like they don't get along, because that will start up the rumor mill. It absolutely will. So, unfortunately, no stage interaction whatsoever. Moving on, crowd interaction. Did we have any crowd interaction? We did before the song officially started. The lead vocalist talking to the crowd. That's nice. Before the song started, not during the song. Once the song began, no stage interaction. I mean, not stage interaction, no crowd interaction at all. None. I mean, yeah, the lead vocalist did look into the crowd, you know, not down into the front of the crowd. He was, I think he was, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was looking out over the horizon, maybe looking at the people in the very back, possible, but no intent, no motioning to the crowd, no moving of arms to the crowd, no pointing to the crowd, no looking down into the crowd and engaging with the crowd. Nope. He was looking off into the horizon, looking out, watching the sunset. You know, that was it. Nobody in the band interacted with the crowd at all. No pointing to the crowd, no engaging with the crowd whatsoever. So unfortunately, again, another big fat goose egg for crowd interaction, and that's the most important one. Meanwhile, you've got Dragon Force over there taking every opportunity they can to interact with the crowd. And it's not just the lead vocalist. Granted, the lead vocalist does quite a bit of it, but it's not just the lead vocalist. The song started and he was off and running, interacting with the crowd right away as soon as the song started. So he did it while the song was playing. He also did it towards the end of the song, where he did the big, double hand wave. And then he also, several times throughout the entire performance, interacted with the crowd, pointing to the crowd, engaging the crowd, letting the crowd know that he sees them and acknowledges them. Make the members of the crowd feel special. They're not just another number. Not just him, but you also had the keyboardist doing it. You had both of the guitar players doing it several times. You had the bassist doing it even more than the guitar players were. He was doing it quite a bit. You even had the drummer back there when he had just, the kick drum going and he had his sticks free. What did he do with them? He pointed to the crowd, clapped them together like he was clapping to the crowd before he would go back into playing the song again. Everybody contributed. It wasn't just one person. Everybody contributed to the crowd interaction there. And the more people contribute, the better the overall show looks. Yes, it's the most important job for the lead vocalist to do it. Absolutely. And he did. He did more than enough on his own. But then you had everybody else in the band contributing too, which just reinforces and reinforces and makes that checkbox stronger and stronger and stronger. So that covers that absolutely right there covers the crowd interaction. It's covered.
More seductive than sex.
You can't say that on TV.
I can say that.
So, that's unfortunate. Showmanship. Did we have any showmanship? Yeah. I'll give it a check, I guess. It's a weak check. I couldn't tell if he was, doing power poses. I'm talking about the lead vocalist. I couldn't tell if he was doing power poses or if he was, having stomach cramps. I couldn't tell. He kept doing this. He's singing and he kept starting to lean back, and then he would lean forward, and then he would come back up again. And then he would start to lean back. Oh, stomach cramp. Never mind. Oh, God, that's awful. Shouldn't have had that sushi from the gas station before we went up on stage. Yeah, you're right. You probably shouldn't have. You should never eat sushi from a gas station, period. But the fact that you chose to do it right before you went on stage, that is a poor life choice, my friend. That's what it looked like. I don't know if it actually happened, but that's exactly what it looked like. It looked like he was in pain the entire performance. Not only that, but when he was coming when he would go up the stage, and more importantly, when he would come down the stage, he was waddling. He would kind of waddle a little bit, like he was, clenching his cheeks, like he was, holding it in. And I'm like, dude, you need to go. I think the band, I think the crowd will understand if you gotta go because you're suffering from food poisoning or whatever, then go. Take care of business, please. The last thing we want to see you do is mess your trousers on stage. That is not a good look. No, I don't, like I said, it was interesting. I'm not going to say it was entertaining. It really wasn't, but it was interesting to see what he was doing on stage. So I'll give it the check. Again, it's a weak one. Okay. So production, any production, lights were, I think the lights were designed. I think they were programmed. So I'll give it that, but that's bonus points, guys. That just helps a little bit. But they missed, out of the 5 main ones, they completely missed 2, including the big one. And 2 of the other checks were weak checks. Seriously weak checks. This is how we ended up coming down from an 8.5 down, or 8.4, 8.5, somewhere in that range, down to an 8.2. Like I've always said, live shows can help or they can hurt. In this case, they hurt. And if you watched my reaction to the Dragon Force video that I just did right before this reaction, you'll see why. You know what I'm talking about, okay? And I stand behind every single thing I said in that reaction. I know it probably hurt some Blind Guardian fans' feelings. Quite frankly, I don't care. I really don't. I'm tired of people defending their favorite band, defending their favorite group, saying ridiculous things like, well, they're focusing on the music. Funny, that's exactly what Dragon Force is doing too. They're playing their song just as flawlessly as Blind Guardian is, but they're doing it with a lot of showmanship and stage energy and stage interaction and crowd interaction. They're doing it with everything I look for in a live show, and yet they're still playing the song just as flawlessly. And then there's the other arguments. We don't expect that from Blind Guardian. We don't expect, Blind Guardian to go up there and put on a great live show. We're just here for the music. Well, I'm glad that's what you're here for. It's not what I'm here for. And quite frankly, I feel like you all are kind of settling for mediocrity when it comes to a live show. You're okay with the band just standing there and playing the song flawlessly, and I will give them credit. They do play flawlessly, absolutely. But by comparison, dollar for dollar, who do you think got more for their money's worth? Let's say hypothetically, I don't know how much Blind Guardian charges for their tickets, and I don't know how much Dragon Force charges for their tickets. I have no idea. So let's just put it even, okay? $60 a ticket. So Blind Guardian fans are paying $60 to go see Blind Guardian. Dragon Force fans are paying $60 to go see Dragon Force. Now, I want you to be 100% honest here, folks. Be 100% honest with yourselves, okay? Please, because this is going to make the social experiment make a whole lot of sense. Who do you think got more for their money's worth? Was it Blind Guardian putting on a 2-hour concert where they did absolutely nothing on stage to put on any kind of a stage show? Or was it Dragon Force fans who also probably got a 2-hour show, maybe a little less, but during the entire show, every single song, we saw that level of intensity, that level of showmanship, that attention of detail to stage presence, stage interaction, stage energy, crowd interaction, showmanship. Production is what production is. I know they had production too, same as Blind Guardian. Their lights were clearly designed, but Dragon Force took the time, effort, energy, to put on the best live show with themselves, not jumping through hoops, not being shot out of a cannon, not doing crazy gymnastics, although they did jump and spin off their ego blocks, but they're willing to do that. And they're able to do that. They're able to play their instruments as just as well as Blind Guardian is, but yet do all that stuff. So I guess the question here really becomes this. Are Blind Guardian are guilty of one of two things? They're either unable to, meaning that their level of musicianship is limited to just standing in their places and playing their songs perfectly, which, again, I'm going to emphasize, they play the song perfectly, absolutely, but in order to do it, they have to stand there. They can't move. They can't move away from that spot. They can't interact with the crowd. They can't interact with each other. They can't do anything to put on a visual spectacle in any way, shape, or form because they're unable to. I don't buy that. I don't believe that for 1 second. I really don't. I know these guys are capable musicians. So then that means that it's option 2, the worst option. They're unwilling to put on a live show for all of you fans. They're unwilling to do that. They don't see the importance of it. They don't see the value of it. They don't see, why they should bother putting on a great live show like Dragon Force does. That's a shame. I'm sorry, but that's a shame. And Blind Guardian fans, you really need to ask yourself, are you okay with that? If you're okay settling for mediocrity when it comes to the visual part of a live performance, then that's on you guys. Honestly, that's perfectly fine. But do not expect me to ever give a performance that we just saw like this a score up in the 9s. When I gave a 9 to the score, as the score to the performance we saw prior to this with the Dragon Force song. That performance absolutely deserves a 9, without question. So before you go in the comments and say, well, why don't you ever give Blind Guardian a 9? Why don't you ever give Blind Guardian's live performances a 9? I got one word for you. It's actually 2 words put together with absolutely no space, but it comes off as one word. Are you ready for it? Dragon Force. There it is. If you still have not gone and watched that reaction and you're really confused by what I'm saying, go check out that reaction. I promise you, you will see what I look for to get a 9. They will show you. I have yet to see it from Blind Guardian. Great musicians, absolutely. I will give them that credit all day long. Great musicians, terrible performers. I'm sorry, but I'm going to call a spade a spade. Terrible performers, great musicians. So that's why I'm giving them the 8.2. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's all there is to it. So 8.2, I feel good about that score, and that's where we're going to stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We have an 8.2, which is a great scale rating, 4 to 5 stars, and an A- letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I've spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hopefully you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, then I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well, then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for the night, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.